Greetings students, and welcome to the tutorial video for part A of our puzzle cube. On Google Classroom, remember there's the document that has all of our pictures of the different pieces. This video will walk you through the process of creating part B using Autodesk Inventor. You will find Autodesk Inventor on your desktop. It looks like a big letter I on kind of an orangish goldish icon. When you launch Autodesk Inventor, you will start at the project launch screen. Remember, everything we create in Inventor has to start out as a part. There are 6 parts to our puzzle cube. This one will be part B. When I choose part, our screen changes to where we have a large drawing space for creating the part. We have the part browser on the left-hand side, and we have the menu ribbon across the top. On the far right-hand side are some of the view controls. You might see me use those a little bit during this project. All of our parts have to begin as a 2-dimensional sketch. When I click Start 2D Sketch, the first thing we have to do is choose our sketch plane. We're going to choose the XY sketch plane in order to create this part. Remember, we're looking at part B right here. The important information we need to know is that each cube is 3/4 of an inch. But when we draw this, we're simply drawing the outside profile of the shape. And so on parts of this, we'll have to add together the distance. We'll need to know what 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 equals. So when we go to Inventor, I'm already in my 2D sketch, and I'm going to begin drawing by drawing a line. I'm going to choose to draw that line somewhere right down here, and it's going to be 3/4 of an inch times 3. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that that's going to be 2.25. So this program has an unlimited drawing space, so I know I can see right now I need to zoom out. So I'm going to use the scroll wheel to zoom out. And if you click on the scroll wheel like it's a button, I can reposition where the center of my drawing would be. So 2.25, this program works in decimal. And I don't have to be exact, I can just be close. Okay, 2.25. And then we go over approximately 0.75 and then down 0.75, remembering what our shape looks like. The important things here that are popping up on the screen, and I haven't mentioned them yet, but this little symbol right here means vertical. That line is vertical. This symbol means perpendicular, so the next line segment was perpendicular to the first. This next line segment should be perpendicular, or notice it's giving me a different symbol. That one stands for parallel. Parallel works also as long as we're parallel to this line and we're perpendicular to this one, approximately 0.75. Then we go over here. I'm going to go a little bit faster because these steps are all the same and the distances are all the same, 0.75, 0.75, until we get to right here. At this step, we have to go down 2 cubes, which is approximately 1.5. Notice all of my distances have been approximate. That's because when we sketch this, we don't try to be perfect. We just try to get close, and then we'll make it perfect with our measurements after we've created the outline or the profile. So all I'm really making sure I do is that I get everything horizontal or vertical. And now you're noticing that this last line segment is crooked. I did that on purpose because I want to show you how to fix it in case your line segments are not horizontal or vertical. On the top menu right up here, you'll find a section called Constrain. And in this section, you'll find some symbols that have different meanings. If you hover your mouse over it, you'll see what it says. It says vertical. If I click on that one, I can make a line vertical. If I click on this one, I can make a line horizontal. So this line right here should have been straight out to the left horizontally. So I click on horizontal, and then I click on the line that should have been horizontal, and it fixes my drawing for me. You would do that for any lines that were not vertical or horizontal at the beginning of the drawing or when you finished. The next thing is to add our measurements. We use the tool called dimension. When you hover your mouse over that, it explains what the purpose is. It's to place dimensions. Now, dimensions are measurements. So when I add my dimensions, there's going to be some tricks to this, or else the part might turn inside out. And I'll explain what that looks like later if you need me to. The main rule to adding dimensions is to always add the biggest dimensions first. And our biggest dimensions would be our entire width, that is all the way from the left side to the right side, or all the way from the top to the bottom. Those are our biggest distances. And right now they're all kind of messed up, but I'm going to leave them messed up for now. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some of our smaller distances. This one should be 1 cube. And we said 1 cube was 3/4, which is 0.75 in decimal. Notice how the part adjusted itself. This distance should be 0.75 also. And then this distance right here should also be 0.75. Now the interesting thing about this program is it does some math for you. It knows what this distance is, and it knows these 3 distances. So if I try to add another dimension, it's going to give me a little message that says that that would over constrain. In other words, we don't need that last distance. We have all the information we need. This distance right here needs to be 0.75. And if I try to add this one, it's going to tell me that we don't need it, because adding that dimension will over constrain. Coming over here, let's start with this down here, 0.75. It already knows that one. Why? Because this line and this line are in alignment with each other. And when I dimensioned this one, it made this one not necessary. We don't need it now. I do need this one though. It should be 0.75. And then I might need this one. Let's see. If I click here, it tells me it's going to over constrain. Why? Because it has this one, it has this one, and it has this one. So we don't need this last bit. It knows that distance. Okay? Do I need anything on the bottom? I might need this distance right here, 0.75. And then I'll need this distance right here, 0.75. But if I try to put this distance in, it's going to tell me not needed. It doesn't need it. And then up here at the top, like I said, it doesn't need this distance, but we know it's wrong, don't we? Because this number's wrong. If you did the math, 0.75 plus 0.75 plus 0.75 plus 0.75 again, that adds up to 3. Same thing over here. This should be 3. So now our part is perfectly drawn and fully dimensioned. The way we would know that it's fully dimensioned is if it were purple. So why isn't it purple? Because I haven't anchored any of my corners. Watch this. When I add this padlock right here, I said anchor and the actual command is fix. It used to be anchor, but now we call it fix. Click on fix and just hover over any of these corners and it'll put up a little dot. When I click on that dot, it'll anchor our part. Notice something's not green. That's because this dimension hasn't been entered. See, I can still move this and change its position. The dimension that's missing is not how wide that space is, but how deep the space is. So I need to add a dimension for this line right here, and it should be 0.75. Now notice the entire part is purple, everything is dimensioned, and we can finish our sketch. Finishing the sketch brings me back to our 3D modeling tab right here, and I'm going to reposition this where I can give it our third dimension, which is done by using the extrude button. When you click extrude, it will ask you for a distance, and since these cubes are all 3/4, our distance also should be 3/4. And finally, the assignment is going to ask you to make the color match what is on the picture. Now this happens to be the green piece, okay? So up here at the top, I know I'm going fast, but you can follow along on the video. Click where it says default. And there's a nice choice of colors here, but the one I like is down here under S for smooth. And we can find smooth green. Okay, I believe that was dark forest green. It doesn't matter. That's our green color right there. And that, students, is how we create part B using Autodesk Inventor. The assignment's going to ask you to create a screenshot. So I'd like to go ahead and show you the process for adding a screenshot. With the part in this orientation right here, I'm going to open a tool called the snipping tool. You can find it by typing in here where it says type here to search, type in snip, and you'll see snipping tool. The way it works is it lets you create, by clicking new, a window around the item that you want to save, and then you can save that as a picture. I'm just going to call this part B and click save. Now when you go to Google Classroom to turn it in, and you want to turn in this assignment, then you would simply add that picture to the assignment. This concludes the video for part B. May the force be with you.